Hey guys, what's up? It's just Connor here. Hope you're having an amazing day as per usual. Today I'm going to be posting yet another private exclusive paid training inside the RSA Mastermind because I know that you guys will absolutely enjoy this. I think it was a great call. Let's talk about what's in there so you can know what you're about to learn and what you're about to see us talk about. So we talked about niches in this call. We talked about compliancy. We talked about theories of to where like the industry is going to be heading in 2024 for high ticket sales. We talked about if we have a 10K goal, what are the inputs required to match it. You're going to see one of the spreadsheets and the templates we have, and we give our guys inside the training program. You're going to see a lot in this training call, and I think you will thoroughly enjoy it if you watch it towards the end. So again, early Christmas present from Connor, me to you. Hopefully you enjoy the mastermind call, and yeah, I'll paste it right in.
Hey, bro.
Going on, bro? How are you?
Long time no see, man. I'm super well.
Looking
How
good,
about
bro.
you?
Looking good.
Looking
Yeah.
good as well.
Yeah. Don't flatter me. Don't flatter me. Roll out of bed 5 minutes before this call. That's all good, bro. Um, how is everybody? Doing well?
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Very good stuff. All right, we're just gonna let a couple people in because we've got a couple new faces today, which is great. There's gonna be a few people that trickle in potentially, but I'm gonna start making the intros now. So three of you, this will be your first call, which is super exciting. So Elias, welcome, brother. Good to have you on your first call.
Thank you.
For context, guys, Elias is what I would call again a marketer's refugee. He's come from another training program who hasn't got results, and we're here to get him the results he's looking for, right? So feel free to connect with him. Again, any help that we can give him to the support we can give him to get the best, like a role, a decent role, shortest amount of time possible, then fantastic. So welcome, brother. Make sure you connect with everyone here. Um, Manuel, first call, brother. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Good to have you, bro.
I'm happy to be here.
Mm. Manuel's gone all in as well, gentlemen. So he's quit his waiter job. He's
Uh,
gone all in. He's very serious about this. So again, connect with him would be very cool of you to do as well. He's gone hardcore. He's like, fuck it. I can't be bothered. Don't like the job that I'm working. I'm just going all in. And so for the next 2 or so months, 3 or so months, we're going to be really cracking down on getting him his first role. So very exciting to do that. And then Lucas, who also just joined this morning, super happy to have you here, bro.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. Thanks for having me. And I'm glad. Obviously, I find out about the RSA because, to be honest, like there was only one answer like I was going to have. When I
Mm-hmm.
found out because I want to take my sales career to the next level.
Mm.
So, so yeah, it's a pleasure, man, and pleasure meeting everyone here.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely everyone connect with Lucas as well. He's another training program that I coach in. Bron, you're a part of that 10K. Um, so yeah, Lucas has been there for a while and he's like, I'm not getting the results I want. I want to get some more high level training. So he's joined us as well. So super exciting. So great to see some new faces here. Super stoked to add you guys to the community. Um, Usually just to give you an understanding of how these calls work is more often than not, we'll go through all the questions that you guys have and really help you nut those ones off. And then once we've passed those questions and once we've finished those there, we'll move on to either a topic of interest this week that I feel will be valuable to talk about, or if you guys don't have a sales call review or anything like that, typically we just end the calls there at that time, right? Now, very simply, there's a reactions button down the bottom right hand corner that if you click on it, it'll say raise hand. There'll be this big button that says raise hand. If you've got a question, feel free to raise your hand and I will answer your question appropriately. And usually it's pretty much first in, best dressed. So if you click on that, if you've got a question, we'll start pumping through the questions. And then, like I mentioned, we will crack into a sales call or not. But feel free to start asking your questions, gentlemen. Son. Oh, yep. Audio? No. No audio from your end. Is it just me? No. Okay. Might try and fiddle with your microphone down the bottom, my friend.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So I have a question. You know how like when we book like these fake dummy calls, it's usually the email that I get for the sales rep, but when I try searching them up on social media, I can't really find them. And personally, like I don't think email is the best way to reach out to them because I reached out to like two people. I haven't like gotten any responses yet.
Two
So
people.
what would you suggest? Two, yeah.
That's not enough, bro. It's two people. Like it's volume negates luck here.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, I would say email is probably a little bit less ineffective. But think again, okay, creative. Like if we only have the email, what's a creative way that we can reach out that's probably going to get their attention a little bit more than an email that might just get lost in their inbox? Like what's a way that you think you can get their attention?
I've tried searching them up on like social media, even LinkedIn, but I just can't find them.
Let's think email. I have an idea. I want you to come up with your own way of thinking. What's an idea that you'd have to track their attention in an email?
Sending them maybe like a Loom video. That could work. Yeah.
Exactly right. They go, oh, what's this? This guy just sent me a random video that says my name on it. And what does the title of the email say? Oh, well, it's this. Maybe it's just their name, question mark. Or
Okay.
test really whatever works, whatever's going to get a better open rate. It's the same thing with the messaging on LinkedIn. Like I already give you like a subject line that works pretty well in the training. So just use that in the email. But like two's definitely not enough, man. Like two's a very small amount. I'd say
Yeah,
just
I just
keep
started
going.
literally like yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, so just keep going and trialing and testing. That's like the whole point of the process. Some messages will be more effective than others, and some others won't. And so it's all just about adjusting and testing like what's going to get the best open rates and things like that. But the templates that I've given you in the third part of the networking masterclass training, that'll really help you out.
And what about for like if I have their cell phone number, could I just contact them that way? Like text them or something?
I think you could. I've never done that before.
Okay.
Texting might be okay. I feel like, and this could be wrong here. This is just an opinion. Just an opinion. Like I could be totally wrong here. I feel like a phone call is a little bit invasive.
Yeah.
Just slightly, especially if it's a networking conversation. I feel like a call is a little bit invasive. So I think, like Peter said, WhatsApp or even just a text might do okay. I think a phone's kind of like, who the fuck are you and why did you get my phone number type thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That's just how I feel personally. That may be wrong, but just an
Yeah.
opinion.
No, 100%.
Cool.
Yep.
Beautiful. Mark, haven't seen your beautiful face in a while, my friend.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. Finally, I just realized like the call times are lining up again. So we got working with a company, and starting next week, we're gonna get some paid leads coming in. So I'm gonna be taking some calls from them. They provided a sales kind of like a sales process of what they recommend. Now I do have what I set up based on the scripts I sent you. What I'm wondering is because we're gonna have paid ads next year, so how much time would be considered efficient to test a new process out, like what I wanted to test versus just using their system, what they're recommending to use. Because I feel like even what I've seen so far is it's not completely clear cut to me that what they're saying will work all the time. So I'm just kind of curious of how much time to commit.
I'd say it's less of a time frame. It's more of a data input. So, for example, it'd be X amount of sales calls or X amount of dials to have like a sizable portion of data. Because like what a lot of new salespeople like to do is, I'll give you an example to kind of write this point home, is like when I first started selling business opportunity, I started learning from my new mentor, which is Jeremy Miner. And I was still quite new to the process and I was brand new to an offer. And I was only closing at like 40% at that time, which I thought was like really low because my mentors I was looking up to was closing at like 70, 80, 90%, or at least they were claiming to be, right? And so I think that I went to Matt, one of my mentors, and I said, dude, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm only closing at 40%. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then he talked to me about the process of like, okay, so it's in the industry of BizOp. You have a VSL and you don't have a triage call. If you're closing at 40%, you're actually doing really good. I was like, oh, okay. Right, that's not so bad then. And then there was also another separate situation of I had a bad week where I didn't close like 8 people in a row or something like that. It was like 8 people in a row. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like what? I was like, I haven't changed anything in my process. Nothing's really different here. I've not really changed anything in the process, but I'm not closing. And so I went to Matt again and he said the same thing. He's like, okay, so how many calls have you not closed and what's the total look like? And I was like, well, out of the total 15, I've closed 50%. And he's like, oh, it's fine. It's not an issue. And I was like, but I haven't closed like 8 in a row. Like am I not in like a losing streak? Am I not in like a sales rut? And he's like, no, I don't think you are. You still close 50% out of the 15 calls. So it's all about understanding like your data and your benchmark of like what you're looking for and like what is the standard. And you'll probably take a while to figure that out. It's going to really depend on your industry because it is so unique. I've never worked in there, so I wouldn't really know what the conversion rate could be. But you know, for example, you can have 10 bad calls and 10 no sales, and then you can have 10 sales in a row. I've literally seen it happen. So I think the key thing here is rather than a time frame, really adjust based off your data input that you're getting and to make sure that it's a sizable data input, not just 3 or 5 calls and go, this doesn't work.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. No worries. Lucas.
So, man, I was going to ask, like, you know, with just generally with sales, like in terms of the sales roles, like you can, let's just say work, what would be the most ideal ones would you say are the ones to like strive for?
As in certain industries, certain roles?
Just any role, yeah, like whether that's being a setter, closer, and all that.
Well, I mean, it's really up to you. Like I've seen many setters that make more than most closers do. So it's never super smart to be like super like direct and set on being a closer. You can make great money being a setter. In fact, you can even work less hours working as a setter.
Yeah.
Like it's this really big false belief that a lot of people have is like, oh, closing is the cool job and you do this and you do that.
Yeah.
True, but setters can also make more money than a closer and actually work less hours depending on the offer that we're on. So something to keep in mind. Look, it's really up to you. Obviously, closing roles in the longer term, you're going to earn more money. That's just a fact because you can close sizable packages. Yeah, it's really up to you. I think closing obviously has got a lot more leverage considering that, again, you can take, if you wanted to full time on a good offer, take 8
Mm,
sales calls a day, close half of them if it's a good offer and your skills are up to scratch. 4 sales, maybe you make $500 a sale. Pretty
mm,
good, right? So it just depends on the offer that you're on. And
mm,
ideally the lifestyle that you're looking to live as well.
mm. Yeah. And I was, like since you say that about like being a setter, like in terms of being like setter, like I know you have there's different ones where you can do DM setting, cold calling. I don't know if there's any others I'm missing out on, but what would be
Yeah.
like the most, say, optimal setter roles to do? Because I've done cold calling like a few months ago, and it wasn't really like something I'd want to like really do ideally.
Hmm.
Like because even when I worked as a closer for a bit, it was just better.
Yeah, you want to like for a setter role,
Yeah,
you probably want to have like a blend between like outbound and triage or one of the other. Um,
yeah,
DM setter, guys, you can do it, but it's definitely less than optimal role.
mm,
Your it's obviously there's like 20% of accounts that make the money that you guys want to make in the coaching industry. It's like 20% of them. I think with DM setter, it's probably even lower, right? Because like to
yeah,
make the money as a DM setter, like you have to really be on an account where one, the company doesn't overhire. That's a big one, right? A lot of the times these companies that are going good, they end up like overhiring for sales reps and they end up hiring like 6 or 7 setters on the same account,
mm,
which really sucks for you because usually DM setting is like a low commission. So DM setting I probably tend to avoid. Um, Personally, doesn't mean that you should.
yeah,
But personally, I would avoid DM setting. I'd I'd optimize for definitely not cold calling. Don't do any of that. There's no point.
yeah,
Um, Triaging and outbound roles is probably going to be the best one because outbound roles are still good, they're still great as long as the offer is solid.
yeah. Oh, okay. It's good to know. So just to clarify, the roles are called outbound setter and triage setter.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Awesome, man. That's great to know. Thank you.
No worries, dude. All right. Who's got more questions? Oh, Lia's got the clap in.
What's up? Um, what would you say were the standards that you had to have to get to 10K a month, or like the general standards required to get to 10K a month?
That's a great question. I like to talk about this concept a lot, which is if you have a 10K goal, you have to have a 10K strategy and a 10K effort, right? The training program you've been implementing a $500 strategy, right? And it seems if you've come this far, especially from a competitor's program, right? No worries, Matt. If you've come so far from a competitor's program, shows me that you're extremely serious about being committed to your goal, right? You've put in a lot of effort. You hear you want it badly, right? So it's clear to me that if given the right system, you're putting in the right effort, right? 10K effort is some of a few things, but it's very holistic in the approach, right? So your mindset, your worldview, your perspective needs to be good, right? So personally developing yourself is really important, but the 10K effort specifically is focused on your inputs and what you're doing each day, each week, each month, right? It's a very clear example of this. If you go look in the community, where you see the pin post at the top from Kyle, right? I want to give you that very strong example because he's from a competitor's program. Wasn't getting any results, had no idea what he's doing, started implementing what I showed him and did it with 110% effort. And he has more interviews with multi 7-figure companies than he knows what to do with, right? Very, very simple. I asked him, what's the difference between everyone else here in the community versus what you're doing? Like, are you doing anything different? Or, like, how can I help everyone else get the same results that you're getting? And he just told me very simply, I'm doing exactly what you told me to do, but with 110% effort, right? That's the stuff, right? And so if we break down like 10K a month effort or 10K effort, what that actually looks like is very simply breaking it up into two variables. So outputs and inputs and outputs, right? First, to figure out the 10K effort, you have to figure out what the output is in the first place. Most of everyone's goals here on this call is to make 10K a month. That's the magical number. It's the milestone that a lot of people are marketed to, right? So we need to figure out if we want to make 10K a month, how do we want to make 10K a month? So part-time, full-time, flexible schedule, fixed schedule, with what coach, with what niche, right? We need to become very clear on what we actually want. And then more importantly, why you want it, right? That's a really, really important part, right? Matt will tell you of all people, right? It's really, really, really important, your mindset in this whole thing, right? And so becoming very clear on what you want and why you want it is very, very, very key, right? You can't get to somewhere if you don't know where you're going, right? You look at guys like Matt here, right? When he hit his first 10K month, right? We are talking about it yesterday on a one-on-one call, that again, like writing notes in his journal about 10K a month just a year ago, right? Nothing happens by accident, guys. It's all by very specific intention. If you want something, you have to be very specific about what you want, because you will absolutely get it. But you have to start mind mapping out what you want first. Is that making sense so far, Elias? Cool.
Yeah.
So first we get the outputs, right? Then we need to figure out the inputs. So the inputs very, very simply are what are the daily, weekly, monthly activities that you are doing to get to that output. So very simply, if you take a look at the tracking sheet inside the training program that our amazing Peter Kovac has made for us, I'm just going to bring it up right now just to give you an example of what I mean. Because yeah, like this is just very specific. So if you go to the networking masterclass and you go down here, you're going to find this. What I mean by inputs is this stuff, right? How many daily DMs are you doing? How many daily conversations are you doing? What KPIs have you set to do that? Have you followed up with all the people in your pipeline, the companies in your pipeline, right? Are you focusing on personal branding? Have you done your post today, right? Have you posted your one piece of content for the day? Have you done a networking call today, right? These are the inputs that you need to focus on, right? What are the inputs that you're doing on a daily basis? And more importantly, are you tracking them? Because if you're not tracking them, what doesn't get measured cannot get managed. I've made this example plenty of times, but for those of you that are new, probably haven't heard this yet, what isn't measured cannot get managed is a very clear example of what I mean by when you try to lose weight or put on muscle or cut fat, right? You have to track your calorie intake. There's no getting around it. If you try and just smear it and you're 100 calories over or you're 100 calories under or 200 calories this way or 200 calories that way, we're not going to simply hit our goal. It's very straightforward. So we have to map out very specifically what are the inputs required to require the output and track them daily. Because a lot of the times with networking, what a lot of people will do is that they'll say networking doesn't work or this doesn't work, this strategy doesn't work. When in actual fact, they haven't really tracked the inputs and they actually have, to be honest, done with you like fuck all as far as like actually like doing the work with networking. It may feel like you've done a lot, which you kind of have, but the actual actionable steps that you've taken is actually really small. And so you just need to focus on and map out what are the KPIs and the inputs that you have to do to get to where you want to go. I'm going to give you one final example to really kind of ride this home. In my business, I have inputs that I focus on every single week, and they get done negotiable no matter what. So in my business, I have 3 YouTube videos a week. I've been doing that consistently for about 8 to 9 months. I haven't missed a week, right? 3 YouTube videos a week. That's my non-negotiable. Posting Instagram content, posting your guys' wins, improving the coaching program. So certain levels of support, mapping out like where can I make new training, things like that. And a new one is spending money on ads. Like these are the inputs, the KPIs I have for my business. And so it's the same when you guys think about your one-man band, your one-man sales agency, closer agency, setter agency is the way that you need to be thinking about it. Yeah, like you need to take that accountability as a founder. How am I marketing myself today? How am I selling myself today? How am I fulfilling for my clients today? This is the lens that you guys need to start thinking through. But as far as like to attain that 10K goal, man, like that's probably what I would say that the large sum of it is majority is going to be the effort because you've got 100% of the strategy that you need now. So you just need to implement what I tell you to do. Make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Was it Kyle who got the very nice result?
Yeah. So you'll see in the
Do
pinned
you
post in the community. Yeah.
do you know like what exact inputs he was doing
No, you can
in
ask
terms
him
of
though.
like I was just about.
There you go. That's why the community is so good. So you can just reach out to him and just ask. Cool. Look, I'm just super curious, man. Like, what were you doing on a daily basis that got you to that point? Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty much that. Like, just that's all that you need to do. Just ask. And this is also something that's really, really important, guys, just to ride that point home. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues, right? There are plenty of guys who are successful in here. Reach out to them, ask them questions. Probably going to be pretty friendly, right? So again, just examine like the pathway that a lot of guys have taken to become successful is proven to be successful for you. So pay attention because, like I mentioned, success leaves clues. And I say that in a researching process as well. Like when you guys are researching for the companies that you want to look for and that you want to find and work with, again, success leaves clues. AKA why I say, for example, finding the guys that coach the guys that coach the guys is a great way to find successful potential clients because they're going to tell you this guy does $1 million per month, this guy does 100,000 per month, this guy does hundreds of thousands per month, right? So reverse engineering that can be quite useful. Lucas.
One thing that I have been struggling with, in all honesty, has been just like what niche to like target in terms of like what I find myself doing is being like, oh, I should go to whatever fitness niche or dating coaching niche, but it's never been something like what I find hard is like just sticking to one thing. Like I just don't know like how to actually make that, let's just say, look in that decision on okay, what niche or industry I want to work in.
Okay, so let's do it now. Why not? So one thing just to understand as well, guys, when I say like picking your niche, you don't feel like you have to corner yourself into that specific niche. Like you don't have to box yourself in any way. You can change niches all you want. But the only thing that like having a niche does is it makes you much more of an authority in that specific industry. So it becomes a lot easier to navigate as well, but also for researching purposes. Because if we're just researching 100 companies and they all do different things, it's very overwhelming. It becomes very complex and it becomes a lot more difficult to really get that advantage that you're looking for when it comes to again just researching. It makes things a lot more difficult because if you're trying to get industry insights to dating coaching, then business coaching, then real estate coaching, and then Airbnb coaching, it starts to really overwhelm yourself and it starts to become really quite complex. So that's why I suggest picking one niche for your research purposes. So let's go ahead and start mapping out your niche, because I think this will be productive for everyone that hasn't got a niche yet. We'll start going through that now. So first off, I'll probably start off by asking you, man, what are you interested in? Like, what do you enjoy talking about? What's something that you might want to learn more about in the future potentially?
Yeah, good question. Like, because I've always liked just fitness in general. For example, like in my environment where I grew up in, it was very much fitness orientated. It's like the secondary school I went to was like pretty much like a sports school. Um, I also have had interest as of late in like real estate coaching, like real estate, e-commerce, but these are things that I don't really have much like knowledge on.
Okay, cool. So let's narrow down to those two. So, real estate coaching and fitness. Those are the two.
Yeah, you could do those two, but I did say like e-commerce.
E-commerce as well. Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
so
no worries.
The way that you guys run it through, you guys have this access to training if you're unaware, if you want to go through this again another time. But when we're looking at a niche, guys, we're typically going through 5 things, right? Pain, growing, do they have money? Is there a good size amount of people that we can reach with it? And how can you provide the most value as a bonus one? It's very optional. And a key bonus as well is, like you mentioned, like for yourself, Lucas, is you really enjoy fitness and it's something that you're passionate about. And then also you want to learn about real estate in the future. Great. So 2 of these would be great niches specifically. So fitness. All right, let's run it through here. Pain. How painful is a fitness problem to somebody?
I think it depends on maybe what their age is.
I would agree.
Because like, people like in their 20s, the big pain point or the main pain point, let's just say, is they're just not got abs, for example. Whereas like someone who's in their 50s or 60s may have difficulties like walking and moving with their mobility, for example.
Exactly right. There you go. And that, my friends, is a great demonstration of finding a sub niche or a subcategory in a niche. So people who are in their 20s, they just want to get jacked, lean. Don't really give a fuck. They're pretty healthy. They can walk around. They're not going to die tomorrow. And they're pretty good, unless they're really obese at a young age, right? So it's fine. Whereas, like, if we take a look at the other side of things, if we look at people who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, let's look at both the examples here. So the pain, not so much for younger people, but let's think about people in their 40s and 50s, maybe call it dads, because selling your fitness to women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s can be definitely a challenge. Let's put it that way, right? As this comes from experience and seeing directly from one of our guys inside the training program who is on an offer like that at the moment. So let's say men, 30s, 40s, 50s, they want to spend more time with their family. They don't have the energy that they need to spend time with their kids, right? They're in fact losing time with their kids because they can't play around with them. They get puffed out, right? They might be on their way to an early grave. These are really big pains. So that, for me, that subcategory of fitness ticks the boxes. And then we take a look at growing. So you can use the search tool of like Google Trends to really help you out with this one, right? So if you just go to Google Trends, you might have to experiment with the keywords, but it's like, again, this is why I talk about quite often, guys, that keyword research is really, really important, because the more keywords you have, your research becomes that much easier. You know what to look for, you know what your prospects are looking for, becomes much easier for your whole process like alone. But like, let's say, for example, like if you just try something like fitness for men, in their 50s. We'll see. It may not come up that good because of the keywords, but let's take a look. Yeah, so it doesn't show enough data there. So you're going to have to really experiment here. Probably just say Australia, like worldwide, because it's just fitness coaching, for example. So that gives us a little bit better of a result, right? So I'm going to assume, so for example, around January, it's going to look like this, for example. Right, it's going to look at these like types of peaks because again, around New Year, everybody gets New Year's resolutions. So you take a look at, again, Google Trends. So you can examine that, use that tool, experiment with it, use different keywords, find what's going to work for you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to find the right keywords to put in there. Money. Do they have money? Well, we look at the younger side of things. Probably not. Probably don't have money, right? A lot of young people are pretty broke, right? From what I found. And so they're either going to college, they're college students, things like that. And so they don't really have the money there. Whereas like people, like guys in their 30s, 40s, and 50s in the fitness niche probably have a little bit more money to invest in themselves rather than younger people, right? So that probably ticks the box there. Audience, easily reachable, right? Would we say that finding people that want to work on their health is pretty easily reachable? Yeah, we would. Yeah, I would say so, because everybody on planet Earth wants to improve their health, either whether it be get jacked, be more healthy, like everybody wants that. And a lot of people have this problem. And then finally, I know Lucas is probably going and handling the dog there, but like, how can I provide the most value? So in this case, it's like, if you've worked in this industry before, or you have a background in this topic, it actually can serve to your benefit, right? You can connect with the prospects better. You're really passionate about it, which is great. And obviously you can be really happy doing it because you enjoy talking about it. So I'll give you an example of this. So an 8-figure offer that I worked on just a little over a year ago, it was coaching doctors on how to package their medical expertise into a course, long story short. And so it was a $10,000 coaching program. And the top sales rep on the offer was making, I think it was 50 to 60 to 70,000 US dollars per month in commissions, right? Just to show you guys what's possible. Like that's absolutely real. You can get to these levels and numbers given that you're on the right opportunity and you have the right skill level. That's why I harp on how networking is so important, is because given enough grit and determination, if I was to just stop doing the RSA tomorrow, all right, guys, I'm not going anywhere, I could absolutely do that. Like I would find the offer, I would train my skills up because I have that belief that it exists, right? The more you guys are exposed to that, the better. And in this particular case and scenario, like this guy who was a top seller on the offer, the top performer, was somewhat of an ex-medical practitioner. Wasn't a full doctor, but he was somewhat of an ex-medical practitioner. So he could talk through a lot of the lens of the way that they're thinking, use the verbiage that they're using. And it really plays to his advantage. And he's also passionate about it, which is a big one. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay. So that last one's optional. You don't have to worry about this too much, but it's just an added bonus if, again, you do have some experience there. Now let's take a look at real estate investment, Airbnb coaching, whatever it is, flipping houses. Pain, right? Debatable. It's not that high, depending on who you're talking to, right? You could be talking to, you can separate this into two categories of buckets again, right? We can talk about separating this into people who just want to flip houses to make a little bit of money on the side. So flipping cash flow, right? We could think about that. Can you hear that airplane going over? No? Sweet. This is this airplane just going and the door open. And then the second category of people is probably going to be investors. People who are looking to either invest their money in real estate or learn how to invest in real estate, right? Probably people with a lot of money. So you've got two categories of people there, right? Both of them, I'd say the pain isn't that strong. Actually, I would say the people who want to invest in real estate and learn how to invest in real estate, probably pain isn't that strong. People already have money. They just want to put their money to work versus people who want to make money, biz op style, maybe a little bit more pain, right? Growing depends on where you're at in the world, right? Certain housing markets are going to be different. In the US, it might be more competitive or it might be more exciting compared to the rest of the world. Whereas like in Australia, I know, for example, the housing market is really saturated right now and we're in a bit of a bubble. So depends on the country that you're in, right? Money. Do they have money? Well, if they're investing in real estate, they probably do. If they're looking to invest, buy, and flip real estate, they probably have money, which is great. Audience, very easily reachable. Who doesn't want to make more money, right? And there's no shortage of rich people that want to put their money to work. Again, final point, if you had a background in real estate or it's something that you're really interested in getting into in the future, it's going to add to your benefit, right? So Lucas, I know you're a little bit, you're away there getting the dog sorted, but
yeah, it's all right.
no, no worries. Does that kind of make sense there? Like my thought process of running through that system?
Yeah, man. It makes more sense. And to be honest, like probably by you talking about it, I'm just gonna start off just focused on just the fitness niche, just not overcomplicate. And if I want to explore a different one in the future, I can come back to it. But
Yeah,
it
that
definitely
can
makes
work.
sense. And like
I
I'll
think I
well,
think real estate's a good niche, by the way.
mm,
Real estate and fitness, great. But I think real estate seems like a good one because there's a lot of people that just seem to be popping up everywhere at the moment in the US that are
oh,
coaching on
okay.
this, and they typically
Mm,
sell quite high ticket, like 7 grand upwards, sometimes even
yeah.
10 minimum. So it's just a recommendation based off what I've seen.
Oh, okay, awesome, man. But yeah, it does feel like it makes sense. What I will do is I'll probably watch this training again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really appreciate the help, man. Thank you.
Beautiful. No worries. All right. Who's next? Who has more questions for me? I like that, Bron. That's a power move. Not even using the digital stuff, using
Hello,
the physical
Connor.
hand.
Of course, man. Of course. So yeah, man, I have a question. Like, we are coming to the end of the year, and I'm curious about your opinion about the next year, like about the market overall, right? If you expect some market shifts, for example, if you, I don't know, just like trends overall, like what would you expect from your experience? Something what's probably going to happen, or anything around the nature?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've talked about this in a video recently. But like I would say that my overall thesis on the industry is this industry will continue to grow and it is continuing to grow and it will continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There will be more people that continue to pop up like myself that teach people how to come in this industry as a beginner salesperson to, again, make 10K a month to do something. I see people like myself pop up every single day. Does that mean that they're going to be successful doing it? Unlikely, because a lot of the people that I see, and again, some of the just absolute ridiculous shit I've seen people get away with, like people who have no idea what they're talking about coming to the industry and being somewhat successful. I've seen that happen. What that means for you guys, though, is actually a good thing because yes, there'll be more people that enter the market year and year and year, right, for high ticket closing space or the high ticket sales space. But the thing is, 99% of them, 98% of them will not be equipped with the right skills. I 100% guarantee you that. The vast majority, we're talking 99% of other people that are teaching this, are teaching a $500 strategy or $100 strategy even that just doesn't work anymore. They teach DMs, they offer guaranteed placement, they do all these types of things, right? That simply just doesn't work. And so what's going to happen from like the injection of new salespeople in this industry, from my perspective, is yes, it's going to get more competitive and there's going to be more people that come into it, but they're not equipped with any near the right mindset or the perspectives that you have and the same skills and the strategy, right? Over time, there are going to be people that copy me, right? This is just the fact that's going to happen. The strategies and the concepts and the ideas that you guys have access to in this training program, you're 1, 2, 3 years ahead of the curve. The rest of the industry will eventually end up teaching and understanding what I know and what you guys now know, right? This is like market sophistication. So 1, 2, 3 years, I don't know how fast it will happen, but like I mentioned, there's going to be people who copy me. There's going to be people that just directly copy me in exactly what I do and exactly what I talk about. Will they be successful doing that? I don't know, right? But it's going to be a natural course that's going to occur. However, like I mentioned, the people that get in now, this is why it's such a good opportunity. You guys have such an incredible heavy advantage over the rest of the industry. It's actually insane, right? The messages that I get to ask to work for me every single day are fucking preposterous, like so bad. I get like 5 of them a day. Every single person networking connection I have in my business owner circles, they get the same thing. They get the same, hey, are you looking for a setter? Hey, this, hey, that. Like the worst stuff that you've ever seen, right? So you guys are in a fantastic position to really capitalize on the opportunity that you guys have now, right? You have access to the best strategies. I can guarantee you that. I've seen all the programs that are out there, and trust me, like this is the stuff that works. And again, basically what I'm saying is you guys are long ahead of the curve. So that's what I see as the market sophistication being towards heading into next year. One other thing to also be aware of is not only as obviously the industry is growing, so therefore there's going to be more people that pop up like myself that teach people how to become a high ticket closer, right? That's one thing to be aware of. The other thing to be aware of is the industry is going to continue to grow. So there's going to be more coaches to work with. There's going to be more successful people because it compounds. So there's not only going to be new coaches that enter the industry, so there's going to be more shit to sift through, but people are going to be moving up the track, right? So the coaches that are at 50K a month now, next year, 100, 150, right? 200, right? There's going to be more people that like the creme of the creme are going to kind of rise to the top. And there's also going to be more new coaches that beginner coaches that come into the industry are people that are teaching people how to become a coach, long story short. So that's going to push people up naturally. And it's going to become more of a competitive market for certain industries. So it's going to make more people innovate, right? Create better marketing strategies, which benefits you as a closer. You create better delivery, right? Which is a great thing for all around for the industry because it's very evident that there's a lot of people in this industry, make money online specifically, that focus very heavily on their marketing rather than their fulfillment. And it's very, very evident of that, right? So as the industry grows and as more people get added to this, I guess, economy, as I would call it, this corner of the market with sales, it's going to improve people's overall fulfillment, improve people's overall marketing, improve people's overall understanding of how to actually work with salespeople, how to grow sales teams as well. And I think that was, oh yeah. And the last thing I was going to mention was the compliance side of things, right? Really, really important event. If you guys haven't seen this, it's really, really, really important to be aware of this. I'm going to try and search it up. Taylor Welch sued. See if I can find
Taylor
it.
Welch. I heard about that. My current business owner is actually, he knows one of the defendants on that case.
Yep.
So
this is really this is a really, really big deal, guys. And it's really something important to take note of. Friend of me actually sent a link to this, so see if I can actually find it just directly. But so we can get straight to the meat of it. But let's take a look. All right, here we go. So this is really important to analyze, guys. So someone who used to teach how to become like a high tier closer, you want to also understand, considering you guys are a part of this industry and you're part of this economy, it's really important for you guys to understand the history of it, because this will help you make theses and predictions of where things are going to go and how you can adjust yourselves accordingly, position yourselves accordingly. Because again, you need to think of this founder's mindset, right? Where is my business going to be heading, right? Where am I going to be heading? How am I going to be working with clients? How am I going to be approaching clients? You guys need to be really thinking ahead of the curve and really thinking outside of the box. You can't just leave it up to me. You can't just leave it up to other parties. You have to learn to think for yourselves. And that's why a lot of what I teach you here is based off principle, not just do this, do that, right? I want you guys to learn to think for yourselves rather than have to come to me. Does that make sense? Cool. So this is a really, really important event in the Make Money Online history because this is huge, right? So the Federal Trade Commission in the US basically has pursued the people who used to run a program, that very, very mass marketed program on how to become like a high tier closer, long story short. Now, for a bit of a brief history lesson, the guys that came before this was a guy named Dan Locke, right? So he talked about, and he mass marketed a program on how to become a high tier closer. And while he was a genius marketer, fulfillment was another issue because he sold hundreds and thousands of people in the same training program. And credit where credit's due, the course was very fundamental and very basic. But for what you're paying for in the grand scheme of things, probably wasn't where it needed to be to actually get people to where they wanted to go. From a skills point of view, training point of view, support, everything like that, right? Allegedly. But we don't know these types of things. But there was also, again, the sales mentor program that was released by Taylor Welch and I think his brother as well. And the reason why I'm highlighting this and why I wanted to talk about this just briefly is that understanding the compliancy issues with Make Money Online companies and just companies in general in the online space heading into 2024 and onwards, right? So this is a big point. This is a big statement that FTC is making around, hey guys, you can't fucking like do this. You can't fuck around like this, right? And so whether or not they did things wrong or right is up to whatever your opinion is, right? And that's up to you, right? It's not for me to judge. It's not for anyone else to judge. It's up to you personally and what your perspective is. However, a big thing that I want to highlight the importance of understanding the history here is that the reason why these guys are getting pursued is because of, I believe, two things allegedly, right? Number one is their service fulfillment, but number two is their high promises and false marketing, right? This is really important to take into account and really important to observe on how important it can relate back to you. If you guys want to check it out, I'm just going to copy and paste this link in the Zoom chat if you guys want to check it out in your own time. But this $16.3 million is not a small amount of money, right? That's a very large amount. In fact, it's one of the highest I've ever seen it. The only other time that I've seen the FTC pursue someone quite hard like this is Kevin David. Again, all allegedly. I don't know anything about that situation, but it's something to be very aware of. Because, like, for example, there was, you can probably do your guys' research into this. Kevin ran a BizOp company teaching Amazon coaching to like just general people like BizOp, right? So make money online. And his stuff was, again, same thing, heavily marketed income claims, false promises, and allegedly not the best fulfillment, right? I don't know the in-depth complexities of that, but this is really important to note. And while I'm actually telling you guys about this is, long story short, what this means for the industry heading into 2024, it's going to mean a lot. So I actually had a conversation with my good friend Dan probably about like 2 years ago in the Gold Coast. And we're talking about how there is a time in this industry where there's going to be a full crackdown, right? Have you guys all watched Wolf of Wall Street? I'm going to guess most of you have, right? Yeah. So remember the part where all the government authorities came into the office and they just came and arrested the guys one by one, right? That's what we're talking about here, right? This is a very, very important event in, I guess, high ticket closing, high ticket sales industry, because FTC has basically, or the FTC has put their foot down and going like, this is not right, and we're going to pursue you, because that's $16 million is no small amount. If it was 1 million or 2 million, it's like that's very much of a slap on the wrist. This is like, we're coming to take you for all that you have type thing. That is a lot of money. I think the total span of that company, it says somewhere in that document, they made like 30 to 40, something like that total gross revenue. They have team to pay for that and other expenses and then tax and things like that. They're coming after 16. That's a lot, right? So what this means is, coming back to the main point, is just being aware that yes, the industry is growing. Yes, it's going to continue to grow. It's not going anywhere. Like this information space is growing at a rapid pace every single week and year. Like it's just continuously to grow. It's not going anywhere. People are slowly realizing that self-education and self-skilling is actually a lot more advantageous than going to college and university, right? Too many people have been let down by college and universities now. A lot of younger people are becoming very aware of that. I literally have so many friends who have gone and studied a $50,000 to $100,000 total degree, yet to be left empty-handed, no idea how to get jobs, no experience. Every job that they go to tells them they need a year experience, which they do not have. And if they do land a job, it's like less than 50, 60 grand a year, which is preposterous, right? Absolutely preposterous, right? So the industry is going to continue to grow and it's going to continue to expand. That's not going to go anywhere. But the methods of marketing is going to tighten up a bit, right? It's going to happen in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, however long it takes to happen, it will happen eventually. But in the future, it's going to be very much, you won't be able to say anything to do with, here's how you can make 10K a month, or here's how you can make X K a month, or here's how you can add X a month to your business, right? That is very loose. It's very important to understand that there's a very good reason why people in Wall Street, their compliance is so airtight that if you were to look at the compliance back with the times with Jordan Belfort and Wolf of Wall Street, there was not really much at all, right? You could sell anything to anyone and you could be very pushy and you could do anything that you want. Now in Wall Street, and when you're basically pitching and selling stocks, you can't even do that anymore. You can't pitch and sell stocks. They're very, very tight on how compliant they are with that. Right? There's words that you can say that you can't say. And so moving forward, it's going to be a tight crackdown on the marketing side of things, not just for the biz ops side of industry, but also for other sides of the industry. The other corners of the market are good places to be, because I think that those are going to be less touched rather than biz opportunity. Saying that you're going to make 10K a month, or that these guys make 10K a month, or alluding to that fact, is what we call an income claim, right? Very illegal, right? But for some reason, the coaching industry, you get away with that a lot. Like you can get away with that very easily. It's very loose. But like if, for example, Matt on his crypto offer, like you mentioned, if he says, even this could put you in a position to make 10K a month, that is even like a big no-no, right? You can't even do that on that offer, because it's to do with financial. Matt, you want to add something?
Yeah, just to add on that quick, like just as you said, any earnings claims, any future predictions, like normally you can ask their goal. Okay, like what's your goal with this? Can't even say that. What I used to do is I could literally show a calculator and be like, okay, if you put $5,000 here at this percentage, this is what you can make. Can't do that at all. So like, yeah, you'll have to learn how to be very careful with this, guys.
Exactly right. And that's now and moving forwards, keep in mind that stuff is already here. You guys have to look out for yourselves in the offers that you're selling in, right? Because you're a contractor, you're not an employee, you're not protected, right? It's all coming back onto you. So anything that you can say will be used against you. And if you say things like certain income claims, certain guarantees, you say things that you're not meant to be saying on calls and they're recorded and someone has evidence against you, they can pursue you in the court of law, right? So I don't want you to make you guys feel scared or anything, but it's very important to be aware of this stuff because look, I never ran into this like during my whole 4 years of full-time selling. I never ran into that. However, it's just something to be very cautious and aware of. A lot of people think that they can say and do anything on calls. It's not true. And a lot of that falls back onto you, not the company, because what they're going to do is they're going to point the finger at you and say, oh, that's a contractor. We don't hire him. Like he just did that on his own fruition. And the blame will go on you. So you need to be very careful on what you're saying on calls, whether or not you're going too far, going out of certain parameters. Look, you just have to be careful on what you're saying and what you're not saying on calls as well. Does that make sense to everyone? Is that a solid enough answer, Bron?
Yeah, bro, that was the proper one. Thanks, man.
Good. No worries. All right, sweet guys. Well, I might see you on some of the other training calls today. If not, no worries. I'll see you guys next week. But yeah, hopefully you guys found today valuable. And if you guys need anything, as always, shoot me a message on school. I'm always there when you need me. And then otherwise, I'll see all of you very soon.
Thank you, Connor.
See you guys.